Welcome back to Movies TV Mad, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Well, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Doctor Who Daily. Well, do you remember ever since I started doing Doctor Who Daily videos again, and ever since we've been discussing, ever since the news broke that Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf Productions would be making and running Doctor Who, what have I been telling you? That they've taken control away from the BBC. This is their baby. Russell is in charge now. He can do whatever he wants, and that's hopefully, unless he's gone a bit nuts and as nuts as the rest of the extreme left entertainment industry, that should be a good thing. Well, this is why you should be subscribing to me and following my channel and following me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, because I know what I'm talking about. Because I work within the industry and I hear whispers. Listen to this. BBC set to lose out over Doctor Who. Now this is by The Times, by the way. The deal bringing Russell T Davies back to the helm of Doctor Who could mean the BBC misses out on up to 40 million in commercial revenue for every 10 episodes, sources have said. The sci-fi series has always been made by the BBC or BBC Studios, the broadcaster's commercial arm. However, Davies, who first rebooted it in 2005, makes his return next year, contingent on the transfer of control to Bad Wolf, a production firm based in Wales. So, as I said to you as well, you see, I know what I'm talking about. Unless production went to Bad Wolf, putting them in charge, he wouldn't have been involved. Sources said that Bad Wolf would be responsible for the creative direction and production, but said BBC Studios would look after international sales, merchandise and other ancillary matters, a source said. It's extraordinary that the BBC Studios has just rolled over. Well, look, I've told you this so many times, haven't I? This is why you should be watching me, because I know what I'm talking about. I said it, didn't I? And you know, the last bit in the article where they say, you know, we're surprised that BBC Studios have just rolled over. What fucking choice did they have? Their leadership of Doctor Who since Russell's left has been disastrous. Disastrous. And I put them off for era in it, even though I like Steve and I love his vast imagination and he did a lot of good things, but it hasn't been the consistent show it was under Russell. Because even then, Russell was very much in control of what was going on. And they were happy, the money was coming in. But, you know, Russell saw what was going on. Russell could see it's a mess. It doesn't matter if it was Moffat or Chibnall. The show went down a direction that was killing it. Everyone could see that. Merchandise sales down, ratings down, complaints, toxicity about the direction of the show. The Timeless Children is a great example of that. Russell literally created the Doctor Who revival. Do you think that he was just going to allow them to destroy Doctor Who again until it has to be cancelled? No. So why did they roll over? As I said, they didn't have a choice. They were on their knees. They didn't know what to do with Doctor Who. What happens? Do we keep Chibnall? Do we stay with Chibnall? Of course you can't. Because he's going to cross that line all the time. And because he's creatively bankrupt, it makes it worse. If you've got a talented creative doing things like the Timeless Children, you can get away with it. Because people don't really notice as much, although who's not going to notice that? But Russell T Davies knew, and the BBC knew, BBC Studios, that Doctor Who was being destroyed. And Russell's saying, let me sort this out, let me fix this situation. So, he said, on contingency, that Bad Wolf Productions run everything. You just take the money, you sell it wherever you want, but we're in charge of making it. And they said yes. This is the most important decision ever made since they agreed to revive the show in 2005. This is a huge decision for Doctor Who's future. And as I say, I've been telling you this. If you've been watching all these videos, you know. Oh my God, Mick's right. How did he know? Actually, it's pretty obvious what happened. From the moment Russell was announced, we knew what was going on. We know what kind of creative a man Russell T Davies is. and he doesn't like half measures. He wasn't going to come in, put his name on the door and be embarrassed by these fucking the BBC no longer care about what kind of stuff they're doing. They're pretty much creatively not in charge of a lot of the stuff that you see on their network now, because they're creatively bankrupt. They have no idea. And all they care about is kind of their identity political propaganda they put in all their programming. That's where it ends for the BBC. So Russell's come in, he knows they're desperate, and he goes, no, unless Bad Wolf Productions and I can run this, and we're totally in creative control, it's not going to happen. And what are you going to do? So they all knew that Chibnall had to go. That's why I think it's laughable when Jodie says, I nearly didn't leave. What choice did you have? Although I think Russell would have done really well with her. I think she'd have turned around to be a great doctor. She's beginning slightly to look like a greater doctor than she was. I always start to enjoy the doctors in their last seasons anyway. It's something to do with me. So, yeah, it's all there in an article from the Times, and you don't get more journalistic respect than the Times, right? So they're going to imagine, and I want you to think about this, they've agreed to lose 40 million pounds, euros, whatever, every 10 episodes. Think about that. They were so desperate because the money they're going to make is astronomical anyway, especially if he brings it back to its heights. It doesn't mean he has to do what he did before, but he's a genius. So he can do amazing things, and according to Piers Wenger, he's a man with a vision, which is very, very satisfying and comforting to know. This is why I don't care about the ratings of Doctor Who Flux and the Halloween Apocalypse. By the way, just over 4 million, nearly 5 million. It's pretty much what I predicted. I said on the low end it would be 2.5 to 3 million. On the high end, just about nearly 5 million. I was right. These are not disastrous ratings. They're good. But it was never about episode 1 of Doctor Who Flux. There's going to be a drop-off. How much will that drop-off be? Did people enjoy this enough to come back, or don't they care? We'll have to find out until this time next week. But none of that matters if you don't want it to. You know, people with agendas will talk about ratings, but it doesn't matter now because Russell's coming back. Now, some people out there believe Russell T Davies coming back makes no difference to the narrative and the identity politics element that, you know, Doctor Who's been running for quite a long time now, even pre-Chibnall. Some people believe, like me, that Doctor Who is so damaged creatively that they're going to have to do a lot of people pleasing. One of the first things Russell knows he has to do, because he knows he can get the mainstream audience who are not big Doctor Who fans back just like that by doing, basically all he has to do is make it popular again, and everyone follows the bear, don't they? But the people he's really going to want to get back, because this matters, and not just about the mainstream, but they're really vitally important, of course, is the die-hard Doctor Who fans, because they're the ones who buy the Blu-rays, the DVDs. You know, they're the ones who hold up the show and buy the merch. That's why the merch has gone down, because die-hard original Doctor Who fans are not buying this version of Doctor Who. And they, you know, Russell knows this. That's why Russell's there. That's why the BBC are willing to lose 40 million quid every 10 episodes. Again, just think about that. So that's who he has to get back again. So he's going to have to do some very interesting things. Now, with the casting of the Doctor, it doesn't necessarily have to be a man to please everyone. It has to be a woman people like. That's the thing. People look at Jodie Whittaker and they go, but you were on Broadchurch, you're his mate. That's the only reason you've got the job. You're not a particularly great Doctor. In my imagination, I don't think of you as the Doctor. It doesn't really work. It works for newer people who came in. They're the Jodie fans, if you ask me. And so he has to get people like me back. Now, I'm already back. I never left because I'm not going to say I'm a loyal fan and you're not for leaving. That's not fair. What I'm saying is I never left because it's Doctor Who. It's half watchable, so I stuck with it. But yeah, he's going to have to get the hardcore Doctor Who fans back. And as I say, the only way to do that is to make it Doctor Who again. Because ultimately, even watching Doctor Who Flux, the Halloween Apocalypse the other day, and check out my reaction and review on my channel here, because I did that yesterday. But he really has to look at it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, I forgot my train of thought. I do that a lot, don't I? Sorry about that if you find that disorientating. I was watching the Halloween Apocalypse and I'm thinking, this just still doesn't feel like Doctor Who, or even good or great Doctor Who. If it was a random sci-fi show, this would be, you know, perfectly passable and entertaining. But it's Doctor Who, and it takes more than to have the TARDIS and iconic creatures back to make good or great Doctor Who. So Chibnall makes a show that doesn't feel like Doctor Who. Now that's my opinion. Now I know my reaction got quite a few thumbs down, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. If you don't like something, you have the right to put thumbs down. And mainly that's to show us creators, what people don't like, so we can go down a different direction. But I would still have the same reaction today, even knowing that people didn't like or agree with what I said, because it's how I feel. It's not a universal opinion, it's mine. And that's important, that we're always ourselves and we're honest about what we think, rather than being scared of upsetting people, which is the kind of world we live in today. So Chibnall's Doctor Who just doesn't feel like Doctor Who. And one amazing thing about the RTD era, and you can say it for a lot of the Moffat era as well, those two eras did feel like Doctor Who. They were making Doctor Who because those two guys are proper Doctor Who fans. I don't know what Chibnall is. He claims to be a Doctor Who fan, but he has an odd mentality for Doctor Who. I think he's on a busman's holiday and he's driving a black cab instead of an Uber. And I think that's the problem with Chibnall. This guy Davies, he's not going to mess about. He will create a world that feels like Doctor Who. It'll be contemporary, there'll be inclusion, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But it will be great Doctor Who, and it will feel like Doctor Who. So this being confirmed to us all, that basically the BBC will have no creative control. I do find it amusing that I've been saying it for weeks and I've actually been proven to be correct. But it's a relief for a lot of people, I think, because we don't want them having any creative control over Doctor Who. And people are shocked that they've just allowed this to happen. But at the end of the day, it's the only way forward. Can we have a refreshingly piece of entertainment, iconic, famous, legendary entertainment that's actually entertaining in the year 2023, in the 21st century? Because entertainment today isn't very entertaining. It's mostly about identity politics and hate for certain people of humanity. That's what we've become now. And isn't that sad? Could Russell T Davies come back and actually make Doctor Who feel like Doctor Who and be entertaining and fun again? Because if he doesn't, Doctor Who will truly be dead. And none of us want that, not really. This is the final shake of the coin, and it's going to be very interesting who's cast as the Doctor, who's cast as the companion, what's he going to do? He must be working on it now as we speak. I don't know if he's chosen the next actor to play the Doctor. I think he has. I did feel that maybe we would get an announcement about the new Doctor pre-Doctor Who Flux. Obviously that's not happening. So don't expect to hear anything, unless the ratings are terrible, about who the new Doctor is until after Doctor Who Flux. It's probably looking like now we won't know anything till January, February. But we could be surprised and get an announcement anytime. Who knows? As I say, my pick would be, what's his bloody name? The guy, Tom Ellis, that's it, the guy who plays Lucifer. Forgot his name, that's another name I keep on forgetting. Anyway, yeah, Tom Ellis I think is perfect. Go and see him as Lucifer if you haven't seen him before. He would be a great Doctor, and of course he's been on Doctor Who before as well. So yeah, that's the kind of person I'd like to see. But there's a lot of female actors who'd be awesome Doctors, just as much awesome Doctors as the males would. It's not about the gender or the identity of it all or the identity politics of it all. It's about picking the right person who loves this. I think you have to love Doctor Who to make it. Otherwise it doesn't work. You need a showrunner who understands Doctor Who to make it. Now, Chris Chibnall, as a die-hard Doctor Who fan, as he claims, should understand Doctor Who. But when you look at the type of Doctor Who he's made, he doesn't really seem to understand what Doctor Who is. Now, a lot of people are saying that the dynamic between Yaz and the Doctor is better than the dynamic between Yaz, Graham, and what's his name, the other kid, right? Well, I don't agree. That people were saying there was too many companions. The very first inception of Doctor Who. Do you remember? Barbara, Ian and Susan, 3 companions, a 4-person TARDIS team. Why did that work? Well, I guess that Verity Lambert actually bothered to give her companions and Doctor some damn characterizations. It's not about the amount of companions you've got on the TARDIS, it's how you use them. Personally, I don't think the dynamic works that well. They tried. They're trying to use this interesting friendship and, and I know there's Yaz and, 13 fans who think they're amazing and they should be lovers and all of that. I don't really enjoy their dynamic. I never have. I don't think Yaz is a great companion, and I do adore Mandip, but I don't think she works as a companion. He hasn't done the work on the character. And if you don't do the work, the characterizations on the characters, how are people supposed to embrace them and enjoy these character dynamics? I don't believe they have screen chemistry at all. And I mean, he's tried to do this because he knows a lot of people like Yaz and the Doctor. That's why she's still there. And there's been a lot of conversations about the disabled lady we saw on the show and the food bank scene we saw. Apparently people are complaining about this. Listen, I haven't seen anyone complaining about it. I'm sure there's some people in reviews who have complained about it. It's because people like Chibnall are about optics and not about proper representation, and people can see through it. It's not that people are upset that a disabled person spent a few seconds on screen in Doctor Who, and let's just remember how short her screen time was. Let me ask a question. Why not remove Yaz and have the disabled lady and Dan as the 2 companions to the 13th Doctor? How about that? Wouldn't that be better representation? A disabled lady front and centre as one of the Doctor's companions, but we're not going to do that, are we, Mr. Chibnall? Because all you want is optical representation and inclusion. Fake. That's all it is. It's not real. Otherwise, that lady would be a full-time companion this season, and for the 3 episodes, the final 3 episodes of the Chibnall run as well. But you're not going to do that. That's what I'm saying. People see through it. So our main headlines today are that Bad Wolf Productions and Russell T Davies have full creative control of Doctor Who starting in 2023. This is exactly what I told you from the first day I reacted to this on my channel, that Russell was returning as showrunner. It was obvious it's going to happen, and it's very, very good news. This has been the Doctor Who Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, most importantly of all, subscribe. Tell everyone about this channel, the shows, and me. And please smash that notification bell so you never miss this perfection. I'll be back tomorrow with even more Doctor Who Daily. Until then, goodbye.